mood killers, or do you want to know?
Do you want to know?
N-O. Do you want a no?
Do you want a no?
I was like, you wait for us to finish. I was like,
Yeah. Welcome to our show. That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to discuss, when someone approaches us and if they're a little bit too forceful. And there's some couples that are okay with that. But I would say generally, probably not.
Yeah, there is such a thing as being too direct.
Yeah. But before we get too deep into it, be sure and sign up for openlove101.com, our email list, and we'll notify you of this episode and others that we have coming out.
Yes.
So we don't really know the title of this episode yet. Something about red flags, but I think it's more about how to have good manners when approaching a couple.
Yeah. Like if you're wanting the answer to be yes, don't do these things.
Yeah, these are, yeah.
Did I say that right or did I say that
No,
backwards?
you said it right.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
When I think it's come up in a conversation in our Open Love 101 Plus Coffee Time with John and Jackie, and then that's where we sit down with our Open Love 101 Plus members in a Zoom meeting. Or,
Yeah, it's kind of a round table session.
Yeah.
We just talk about whatever.
And this came up in there.
Yeah, yeah.
And it can be very uncomfortable for a couple when they're approached by a couple or a single person. And the first thing they want to talk about is sex. And I don't know, in society today, if it just comes from, being behind this veil of the internet and people feel like they can just be really just super direct as opposed to trying to get to know someone a little bit first.
Right.
And maybe that works for you.
Or that's the misconception that they have about the club, that they're just supposed to be direct.
Yeah, and like I said, I think sometimes it can work. I mean, I've seen you be direct with somebody before, and it was fine. Where you're making the eyes across.
Yeah, you're making googly eyes.
Yeah, and then you walk up and say, "Hey, you want to go to the back?" And they say, "Sure, let's go."
Yeah.
So there are exceptions to this.
Right. Right.
But normally, the way it works is, you approach a couple and you address us as a couple and say, "Hey, my name's so-and-so. How are you guys doing?" And then we can start a conversation.
Right.
And I think that is the most common way, because many couples that you might meet are really shy and they're timid. Maybe this is their first or second time at a party, an event, or a club. And to just come right at them with, "Hey, you want to go have sex?" They're probably going to say no. And I think there's, ways to increase your chances of really developing a friendship there, a relationship or a sexual relationship with someone without going straight for the jugular.
I was in the club one time, and there was the dance floor, and then we have these sofas, and I was standing behind one of the sofas, and I'm just watching everybody have a good time. And this guy kind of shimmies up next to me, and we're kind of standing there. I look at him, and, I smile, and he looks at me and smiles, and he's like, "So, what are you into?" I was like, "What?" He's like, "No, come on. Like, what are you into?" Okay. What? I was like, "Not you." I mean, I didn't say that, but that's what I wanted to say. I was just like, "Really?" And then when I didn't answer right away, it's like he got frustrated with me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, boy, that is. Let me help you here a little bit there, Mister.
What would you have rather heard?
"Hi, my name's so and so. What's your name? I've never been to the club before. How are you? Would you like to dance?" I mean, I don't know, something that was less confrontational. I mean, it really. It was aggressive.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And nobody wants to feel on the defense in a situation like that.
And that's where it puts you right away.
Right away, bristly. And it's unfortunate, because then it tends to be those people that then end up having a negative view of what's going on, and not realizing that it's their behavior that's creating the negativity. Just being a little bit more compassionate. But again, I think that's another reason why we do these, is to kind of dispel some of that. Yes, you're going into a swingers club, but it's still just a group of people, and it's still just a gathering. That topic can come up.
Right.
But it's not a given. It's not a given. You're not going to just walk into the club and have that thing happen.
And I think for you to think that's what's going to happen, any of you guys out there that are thinking that's, how you're going to end up hooking up with someone at a club or an event, you're really saying about those couples that's all it's about for them.
Right.
And it is definitely not. And we've talked about that many times. This is a relationship model. It's not, we don't go to clubs around the world just to have sex. We go there to relax, to sit down and have a conversation, to meet other people, learn about people and where they live.
Be in the environment.
And if it leads to something sexual, it can, but it is probably not going to happen when someone just comes up and is, so aggressive and rude and direct. It can be very off, it can put us off. And there was a time we were at a club and there was someone like that got really aggressive, touchy-feely without asking. And Jackie wasn't in the mood for that. And we got up and we walked away and we found a place to just spend some time together and to relax. So, really, I think it's important to be conscientious about the environment that you're in. Mm-hmm. And understand that the people there are looking to meet people, not just go have sex with people. Right. And because you're the first guy to walk up to them and say something to them.
Right.
And it's really important to keep that in mind. So it harkens back to Miss Manners, the book we got when we were kids.
Yes.
Is that the name of it? I think it was maybe
something like
else.
that,
But,
yeah.
You introduce yourself.
Right.
Try and find out something about them, not just about what they're into sexually.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. What are there other things that can...
Something else to look out for, I guess, when you're in an environment like that is so there can be, you might meet a couple and maybe it's their first time. It's important to find that out. And maybe one of the couple is really excited about doing something and the other one is really timid. That's why it's important to have a conversation. You don't want to put someone in a position to where it's going to ruin their night. And especially if it's a new couple, that they're looking to feel out the environment and see what's going on. And when someone, a lot of times it's another couple that can be really aggressive.
Yeah.
And that can make people feel uncomfortable. And we would encourage you guys to, once again, just take it back a notch, really try to get to know someone a little bit first before you push them into feeling like they're not having a very good time.
Right. Well, and Courtney brought up a good point, before we started doing the video about, being conscious of couples, when you introduce yourself. The safe side would be just to introduce yourself to both of them.
Right.
The husband and the wife. Some couples don't care, but erring on the side of caution is always better, because that can be off-putting to people as well when one person feels completely ignored.
And if you do happen to, if you're a female, a woman, and someone approaches you and your husband's not around, and that's your boundary is to only have those conversations, as a couple, it's important to speak up at that point. Mm-hmm. And say, listen, just wait a minute. My husband went to the bathroom. When he gets back, let's start this all over again. Right. I'd love for you to meet him.
Right.
And we're not really comfortable with me talking to single men or to a couple without him being around. Just whatever it is, whatever that boundary is that you've established for yourself, make sure you let that person know what it is.
Yeah. I think another red flag that we talked about is, we understand that everybody wants to have a good time. They want to be relaxed. They want to be in that kind of party mode. They they want to laugh and dance. But if you've had too much alcohol, that can be off-putting to couples.
That's true.
If you're slurring your words, if you're repeating the same thing over and over again, if you're, if the amount of alcohol you've had has made you too like, oh, hey, for the person that hasn't had that, they're getting a different experience.
Yes.
So, just watch that, if you can. That way you don't have to worry about like, oh man, did I do that? I don't remember doing that kind of thing. You don't want to fall into that. It's just important to remember that, the club or an outing, it's not any different than any other kind of social setting that you're in. You're going to have, some people that are really great in those settings, and you're going to have some people that kind of miss the mark. And, we don't corner the market on that either. I can be at a store and I can have a person at the checkout that's really great, and then I can have somebody that I'm like, wow, you should probably not be working here. So it just kind of runs the gamut. But I think, like you said, just, have manners. Treat people like you want to be treated.
Yeah. And
that'll take you much farther than assumptions. So hope this helps.
Yeah. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. Be sure and sign up for Open Love 101, our email list at openlove101.com, and we'll send you updates of blogs and videos that are coming out. Thanks for joining us today.
See ya.
Dang, I learned a lot from that video. Subscribe, and you can learn a lot more.